It's a new year, a new season, and we are underway.
Really dominating fashion here today is going to win.
2, 3, 4 for the final time.
Win number 1 on the season, only just barely.
He is going to win here at the Motor Speedway.
Wins the Emerson Electric 100K.
Gonna be Igor Barretto's gonna eke it out.
Cup Series champion is Shane Lake in the number 15.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
Tomorrow, 33 drivers will take to this hallowed ground for 100 laps of action in the greatest race in the NOFSRL. But first, exactly 25 hours before, these 33 drivers will take to the racetrack one last time to ensure their cars are ready for tomorrow's big race. This is Indy 250 Carb Day Practice from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Haas IndyCar Series 2021 season. Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is Carb Day Practice from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 20 minutes to see how fast these guys are going to be for tomorrow's race. Of course, it really doesn't mean anything, but it's a bit of a tradition, just like Carb Day is in real life. So we're going to have some fun with this one here today. In less than an hour, we got ourselves the Freedom 50 as well, and then tonight the Coca-Cola 600 in the NOFSRL Cup Series. It's going to be a huge weekend all across the board, in real life and here in the NOFSRL, and we are excited for the big race tomorrow. Hopefully we're going to have Micah Knapp and Josh Williamson in the booth with us. Great to have Micah back in the booth, and definitely excited to see what tomorrow's race will bring. But today, give us a little bit of a taste of who's going to be fast. Of course, we know that Al Legacy going to be starting on the pole position for tomorrow's race. See where Al Legacy happens to be on the racetrack in the number 98 machine. If he is, in fact, out there on the racetrack, and he is right there, number 98, entering turn number 1 right now. And, of course, Al Legacy swept both rounds of qualifying over the weekend, I should say. He was the fastest in single-car qualifying on Saturday, and then, of course, went on to be the fastest in the Fast 9 shootout, just like Scott Dixon did in real life. Of course, Scott Dixon going to be leading to the green flag on Sunday in the Indianapolis 500. Al Legacy looking to have a bit of magic on Saturday to possibly win this big event. This would be a huge win for Al Legacy if he can pull it off. Hasn't been in the Haas IndyCar Series in a couple of years, but great to see him back, and obviously coming on very strong here in this year's Indianapolis 250. And some other guys you definitely want to watch out for. Number 54 machine of Ben Young, going to be starting on that outside pole, and Ben Young has been a very fast driver over in the NOFSRL Cup Series this season, but we really don't know what he's going to do in the open wheel machine. Definitely a driver to watch out for tomorrow, though, because Ben Young, a rookie driver, has shown a lot of speed so far during Indy 250 week. I would anticipate he's going to be a driver to definitely contend for the race victory tomorrow. Then, starting third, and this is definitely a guy who I think has the experience to win this race. That's the number 88 of Christopher Alphaby there, as you see in the 88 machine. Alphaby starting third in tomorrow's race, has run this thing before, ran it in 2019, has won on the Super Speedway in the past. He can have a good opportunity at getting the biggest win of his career tomorrow at noon. We're just going to have to see how it all goes down. Meanwhile, the fastest driver is the driver who was fastest in practice a week ago, Max Anderson. Now, Max Anderson didn't get the best of starting positions. He's going to be starting in the 20th position tomorrow. That's not exactly where you want to start. On the outside lane, kind of midway through the field, kind of one of the worst places to start for a race like this, but we'll have to see what he can do as the race goes along. Of course, Max Anderson, this is going to be Anderson's, let's see here, 4th Indianapolis 250, so he's been in quite a few of these before, and obviously knows how to get around this racetrack. Of course, the guys you got to watch out for, though, I think are some of these guys who have shown a lot of strength in this race in the past, particularly the two guys who have won this race before who made it into the Fast 9. I'm talking about Audra Baranowskis and Nicholas Samadillo, and I'm trying to locate one of those guys on the racetrack. There's Baranowskis in the 2 machine, winner of the 2019 Indianapolis 250. Of course, when she won that race, she was coming to turn number 4 in 2nd place, and then Jonathan King came down the pit lane as he ran out of fuel. Baranowskis will be starting in the 8th position tomorrow alongside the driver who won this race last year, Nicholas Sambadio. And, of course, Sambadio has won this race twice. He won it in 2018 and won it again last year. So he's looking for his 3rd Indianapolis 250. He's also won the Daytona 500 as well. And he's got 21 career Napa fan wins. If Nicholas Sambadio wins tomorrow, you know, I know he's won this race twice before. He's won the Daytona 500, but I would actually argue to say that if he were to win this race tomorrow, it would be the biggest win of his career because it would put him above John Art, and he would become the all-time winningest driver on Napa fan with 22 career wins on this channel. That is something else, and it's something how quick Sambadio got there, too, because I think heading in the last year, I think he may have only had 15 wins, maybe? I really don't know. Who remembers last year, anyway? But Sambadio won a couple of races last year. Of course, obviously won the Indianapolis 250. He won an IndyCar race at Portland, won at Talladega. Now this year, or should I say he won at Pocono last year. This year he's won at Talladega. He also won a dual race. So he had, I think, 16, at least 16 going in the last year. Maybe 15, maybe it was a little bit less. And now he's at 21 career wins in essentially the span of a year. Which isn't bad at all, and looking for win number 22 tomorrow, and obviously Sambadio is a guy, especially starting in that same position he started in last year, a guy you got to watch out for in tomorrow's Indianapolis 250, because Mr. Edge, you know, he's won this thing twice before. I mean, if we had odds for this race, maybe Al Agassi, Ben Young, Alpha may be ahead of him, but Sambadio would be right up there. He would be right up there. But everybody has equal ratings. It's always important to realize that, you know, the series we run here in the NOFSRL are all equal rating series. No one essentially has an advantage over anybody else. We did that in the Hers Dash series last year, tested it out. I kind of liked it, but I don't want to mess with the canon of the series by implementing it into the Cup Series or the IndyCar Series, because these two series, they already have a lot of history. They're kind of just set up as they are, and to add ratings, I think, would disrupt that and be unfair to a few guys in the field. But I'm definitely excited to see how it's going to play out, considering that we have a lot of these guys who are very experienced veterans, technically, starting up front, like Al Agassi starting on the pole. Troxel, Sambadio, Baranowskis are 3 guys to watch out for as well. Talk about Thomas Troxel driving the number 21 machine. Troxel started second and finished second in this race last year. He was runner-up to Nicholas Sambadio in this event last year, and I know Troxel has a lot of fire to win this Indianapolis 250 here, and he's definitely a guy who can do it. Going to be his 3rd Indianapolis 250. His first was in 2019, so his 3rd straight year in this race. Thomas Troxel, definitely a solid driver, and definitely going to be a threat to win it. Currently fastest, and how about good old times right here? Davey Johnson, currently fastest here in Indy 250 Carb Day practice. Now, Davey, you know, in years past in this Indianapolis 250, Davey Johnson was consistently one of the fastest drivers in practice and qualifying and all that. And back then, we did group qualifying. I know we're not doing that again for this race. But Davey Johnson starts 14th. And this is a guy, this is going to be his 6th Indianapolis 250. Only Sambadio has run more Indy 250s than this guy. I am sure that Davey would love to win this race. Absolutely. Of course he'd love to win this race. He's been in this series for so long now. But it's going to be intriguing to see what he can do, especially considering he is the fastest guy once again. He's won many practices before in years past. He's always consistently one of the fastest guys in the practice session. But we never really seen him run well in the race before. Definitely intrigued to see if he's going to be in contention for that race victory tomorrow. Here's Trey Smith, and he got in by the skin of his teeth on Sunday. He's going to be starting in the 32nd position there, and that's Davey Johnson's theoretical teammate there at Red Bull Racing. Trey Smith, of course, was an owner last year, and that's his first fray into driving an open-wheel machine, but he will be racing tomorrow, and that's the big thing for Trey Smith there in that 30, or in that 23, I should say. Definitely excited to see what he can pull off. Noah Clifton almost missed this race last year. He was in the last night shootout last year, but he'll be starting 10th. However, his Ferrari teammate wrecked out, or should I... You know why I said that? Because last weekend in the Monaco Grand Prix in qualifying, Charles Leclerc wrecked out in qualifying and didn't start the race. Now, Leclerc, as far as I know, Leclerc drives to 16th, so Clifton's essentially in Leclerc's car. Yeah, he's essentially in Leclerc's car, and Collins is in Vettel's car from 2020. But Collins missed out on the show. He was, in fact, the slowest driver, I do believe, in the last night shootout. Unfortunately, he will not be racing. Neither will Caleb Rose, who was going to make his first ever start in this race, and neither will Marty Johnson. That's definitely the biggest name to miss out on this Indianapolis 250 this year. Definitely going to be interesting to see how the season goes on with these DNQs, because every race is going to have now 6 DNQs from here on out. Of course, this one had 3. But 2 weeks from now at Texas, we'll have qualifying over on the NOFSRL channel. And I'm not going to make it in single car like we did for Indianapolis. It's going to be a group qualifying session. So that may not be a good idea, but it gets it done quick, and we'll knock out 6 guys in that qualifying session from running at Texas. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. Here is number 20 of Luke Rainey. Now, he's the other driver in this field who has won this race before, all the way back in 2017, 4 years ago, when Luke Rainey won this race. It was a much different time on this channel back then. It was in the NRLOA, for one, and 2017, I did that on my old laptop. I mean, heck, I wasn't even in college yet when I did that race, and now I'm out of college. So, time flies. It's amazing how long I've been doing this. This is the 8th Indianapolis 250, the 7th year we have run this race. Of course, we had 2 of these events in 2015, because 2015 I had nothing else better to do with my life. But Luke Rainey has, you know, since that Indianapolis 250 win, he's struggled to run well in this race since. He's been in every single Indy 250 since then. But this one in particular, Luke Rainey hasn't had the best of runs in this series, and particularly in qualifying. He was in the last night shootout. He's actually starting 31st. He barely made it in as well. But Luke Rainey managed his way in again. Actually, if you remember 2019, he actually bumped out Micah Knapp. Or Micah Knapp kind of just barely lost out on him there. And Luke Rainey just barely got into that race by the skin of his teeth. Now, Luke Rainey, of course, has won this race before. We're just going to have to see what he can pull off. And he'll be running full-time this year as well. Of course, everyone's running full-time this year, but definitely intrigued to see how that all goes for him. This is Christian Vargas in the 89 machine. I know you guys cannot tell because it's a white number on a white background, but that is, in fact, Vargas. You can trust me, I'm a trustworthy person. Yeah. Actually, I had to remember. Let me see if I can find hair gel. The wing may be a different color on the 2. See, where is hair gel at? No, it's not. You actually might be able to read the number on the wing, but the wing is also the same color. I should have done something. I mean, the thing was, I wasn't given the PSD files for this. I was actually just given the cars from Matt, so really couldn't do much to change them. But hey, it is what it is. That is the 89 of Christian Vargas, and that other car we just saw, that was Sergio Larvin Alonso. Definitely intrigued. Here's Brandon Nelson. Now, Brandon Nelson was a guy who was running up front last year before he had to come down for fuel. Same goes for Mitchell Henderson in the 51. But Brandon Nelson, definitely intrigued to see what he can do. He'll be starting 5th tomorrow. Definitely a dark horse for this race. I mean, he's a guy who's run this race before. Who am I kidding? You know, it doesn't feel like he's been around that long, but he has. I mean, he made his debut on Napa Fan in this race last year. I'm intrigued to see what he can do there from that 5th starting position. He should definitely have a good shot, possibly going to victory lane. We're going to go ahead and check on the other Haas machine, Mitchell Henderson, who was another one of those guys who was up front last year. And Mitchell Henderson, of course, unfortunately, had to come down the pit lane for fuel. Going to be intriguing to see what he can do from the 23rd starting position in his 2nd Indianapolis 250. There's your pulsator. Al Agassi, 8th quickest right now. Max Anderson, 2nd. Anderson's been fast in the draft. That's a good sign for him tomorrow. I know he's starting 20th, but you know, if he's fast in the draft, he's going to have a good shot at winning tomorrow's race. There goes Sam Medea to the inside of Thomas Troxel. Sure, Troxel didn't want to see that, but this is just practice, so keep that in mind. There's Ryan Durrani, going to be his 2nd Indianapolis 250. He was the last guy to make it in on Saturday, so he barely missed out on the last night shooter, which is a good thing. But he'll be starting 27th to the inside of Justin Zeidel, who was the fastest in the last night shootout. I would imagine that Zeidel is going to definitely be a contender. Of course, a champion in this series. The last champion we've had in this series who was running this season. Of course, Luke Rainey won the championship in 2017. 2018, 2018, the championship was won by Nicholas Amadio, and Justin Zeidel won the championship 2019. Of course, last year was won by Chase Harris. Chase Harris retired, ran in the Freedom 50, or will be running in the Freedom 50. Have I recorded the Freedom 50? But we'll be running in the Freedom 50 here in just under an hour right here on AG Racing. Definitely excited to see what he can do in that event. John Andrews, another veteran to this race. This is going to be Andrews' 4th Indianapolis 250. Andrews has been kicking it over in the Turkey Hill National Series this year, but he didn't qualify too well, 24th overall. So we'll have to see what he can do from that starting position. There's Chase Buck going to be starting in the 4th position tomorrow. We'll have to see what that Renault can do. We have 4 Renaults in this race. We have the more orange ones, Dustin Davis and Logan Williams, and then the more yellow ones, which are Chase Buck and Ethan Lewis. But they all kind of, other than the color, they're really all essentially the same. But the more yellow ones were actually the ones that were going to be in the Haas IndyCar Series when we were originally doing customs, and the more orange ones are the ones that were going to be in Formula Indy. So that's how we ended up with all those Renaults. And they're all technically Ethan Lewis's team. But, you know how it rolls. Madison Toll. Great to see Madison back in this race. And, of course, if you remember the 2019 edition, she was one of those gals running up front in that event. And she ended up wrecking and had a pretty massive wreck as well. But she ran up front. She was very strong, and she wants redemption from all that. Of course, she's never won before in Apafam. So we'll have to see what Nathan Saplin's girlfriend can do. Going to be intrigued to see what that 38 machine can, in fact, pull off here in Indianapolis 250 action tomorrow. Nathan Smith in the 48 machine, and then Braden Perez right behind him in the 44. Nathan Smith ran the second half of last season here in the Haas IndyCar Series and ran very well. He'll be starting in the 13th position. Braden Perez there in the 44 machine. Perez will be starting in 22nd. There's Ben Young. We already mentioned Ben Young. Mentioned all those guys right there. Here's Igor Barreto in the 37 machine. Of course, Barreto was also in the last night shootout, but he was one of the faster drivers in that shootout. And right behind him there, obviously, Mitchell Henderson and Al Legacy, of course, our pole sitter. Ace Garcia. This is the driver who's going to be starting in 33rd in his, I believe, it's his 4th Indianapolis 250, which is kind of surprising, you know. I don't see Ace Garcia and think IndyCar. I think NOFSRL Cup Series, where he's been for the past 4 years. But he's been in this race. He's been in this race since 2018, I do believe. Twice, though, as an Indy 250 only driver. He's only run full-time in the series once before, so he's in 33rd. The driver who started 33rd last year was Brandon Nelson, and Nelson was running up front near the end of that race. 97 here, that's Owen Miles. Going to be his 2nd Indianapolis 250. Now, Miles... let's see here. 25th overall tomorrow, so not the best of starting positions for him. Here we go. How about this tandem? Derek Hamill in the 18, Matt Tucker in the 79, the 2 most wanted drivers in the NOFSRL server. Tell you what, these two, I don't know what to do with them. But Matt Tuck, number 79, of course, he's a driver who hasn't won in a long time on Apafan. As far as I know, it's been since 2018 at Pocono in the NOFSRL Cup Series, since he's last gone the victory lane. He has won in the IndyCar Series before, however, and he will be starting 11th tomorrow, so he's got a good starting position in the ride that won the championship last year when Chase Harris drove in. And, of course, Derek Hamill, he'll be having a pretty decent starting position in 17th on the inside lane, so... definitely looking forward to see what Derek does. This is Derek's first ever Indianapolis 250 as a driver. He was an owner in this race last year. And Tristan Allen was driving for him, and I believe Allen finished in the 3rd position, I do believe. I think that's Logan Williams there, number 69 machine. This is going to be Logan's first Indianapolis 250, but he was in the Freedom 50 last year, so he does have a little bit of open wheel experience. His brother's going to be in the Freedom 50 here in a moment. At noon Eastern Time, right here on AG Racing. Definitely excited for that 20-lap event. Hairjill's going to be in the booth with us for that. Definitely recommend checking that out. Will Parrish in the number 4 machine. We haven't mentioned him yet today. Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. He'll be starting in the 15th position. Definitely a guy we're not really focusing too much on. No doubt about it, but hey, we're just going to have to see how it all goes down for him. There's Durrani there in the 52 machine. Sam Medeo again. Here's Ethan Lewis in the number 12. We've yet to mention Lewis in the number 12 machine. Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250, and Ethan Lewis will be starting in the 26th position. Number 8 is Jordan Lopez. Now, Jordan Lopez, he has been in this series since 2017 and has never gone the victory lane. Now, unlike Marty Johnson, who has done the same thing, essentially, he did make the race and has a okay starting position, 21st. It's going to be on that inside lane. This may just be one of the best-looking cars out here, though. The McLaren orange and blue right there. Chris Barretto's car looks very nice, too. Hey, we just had someone go to the top of the board, knock off Davey Johnson. A couple of guys right there, particularly John Andrews and Justin Zeidel. And right near the end of the session as well, as we're almost complete here. 55 machine Roberto Crown Jr. will be starting in the 12th position. And that's the 63 of Hergel Arvin Alonso, who will be starting in the 30th position, driving the number 63. I think we've gone through all the drivers. Of course, you guys already know. Dustin Davis. How can we forget the guy who won the Turkey Hill National Series race here on Monday? He'll be starting in the 9th position in that 99 Renault. If I missed someone, I apologize, but we did go through everyone last week. So, oh, still 30 more seconds left, so that's good. It looks like the fastest driver here in Carb Day practice will be John Andrews. Does it mean anything for tomorrow? No, because like I said, the ratings are equal for everybody, but if it did, watch out for John Andrews, watch out for Justin Zeidel, watch out for Davey, and watch out for Max Anderson. Max Anderson fast again. He's been fast in both of these practice sessions. Obviously, was the fastest last week, and he's looking fast again this week. Hergel Arvin Alonso there in 5th. The 12 machine there, going to be the 6th fastest driver, Ethan Lewis. And I don't have the actual starting lineup set yet, so I'm just gonna pause that so it doesn't go any further. But John Andrews, Justin Zeidel, Davey Johnson, Max Anderson, Hergel Arvin Alonso, the top 5, Ethan Lewis, Christopher Appleby, Logan Williams, Owen Miles, Jordan Lopez, top 10. Take a look at the rest of the results right there. It don't mean jack, just the practice session, little tradition. But the race coming up at noon, the Freedom 50 does mean jack. It's for an Fan win, and actually for points in the Singtel Indy Light Series, which Hergel will be doing the rest of the season. But the first race, gonna be noon Eastern time right here on AG Racing. The Freedom 50, 20 laps of action in that prelude to the Indianapolis 250, and of course, tomorrow at noon Eastern time, it is the big race. Al Legacy going to lead us to the green flag for 100 laps here in Indianapolis. And of course, tonight, the Coke 600 in the NOFSRL Cup Series. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern time. A great day of racing here on AG Racing, and of course, a great day of racing tomorrow as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations, John Andrews, the fastest in Carb Day practice. We'll see you guys in less than an hour for the Freedom 50 here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I will see you guys later.